Time again for back in the day movie hits. It's basically if you guys want to go through podcast episode past or whatever, like every year, and we get to January, and it's like a pattern of movies that were not necessarily hits when they were released, but then they had a good run on video, or back in the days when they used to play movies on TV, when there was regular TV movie marathons, like it got a growing following. So I guess you could say these movies got like cult movie status. Tonight's movie is a bank heist movie, and it's called Quick Change. And since it's about bank heists, I was like, let's take a minute to discuss bank robberies and maybe some of our favorite bank robbery movies. But this is why I want to bring up bank robberies. Not that we have any fans at the FBI. They're listening is like, is that your day job? No. We don't rob anything. And I'm going to try not to swear in the first minute because apparently the algorithm on YouTube doesn't like swearing within the first minute of your video. That's the new shadow banning thing, I guess.
There you go.
But probably talking about bank robberies is not a good thing. Talking about crimes committed at the beginning of a podcast is probably bad as well for Apple. Whatever. No, I almost said F the algorithm. How many seconds are we in? Count the time, Dave. Till we can take the
120, 125, a minute 25.
Okay, we're good. I was about to say, fuck the algorithms. Fuck your Apple Podcasts. Fuck your Spotify. Fuck your iTunes. Let's just, I don't want to roll. Let's just be like a defiant 2023.
I'm with that. Let's
just
go.
knock the can over and light the tree on fire. Let's go. I'm really beleaguering the point here. I'm like burying the lead, as they say, or whatever. Like I'm off on a tangent already. Guys, reel me in. What the hell's going on? What was I? Oh, talking about bank robbery movies. Okay, anyway, like I went into a bank with a check and tried to cash it, and they had no money to cash the check. And I was like, it's a bank out of money. Like, scary thing. Anyway, they're like, yeah, come back on Friday. We have to notify the bank manager to order more money so you can cash your check. So then I was like, you know the movie I want to see? A bank robbery movie where they go through all kinds of hell and then the bank is empty. Like No Money Bank would be a good bank heist movie because that's terrifying. Like how many horrible things do they have to do to rob the bank? Or are they slightly redeemable characters who have sacrificed their citizenship only to discover it didn't matter anyway? Like that, I want that bank heist movie.
I mean, not that exact scenario, but I, believe it or not, kind of watched a movie like that this week. Not even thinking about the movie of the week we were watching.
Well, hot damn, David.
Ooh, bank heist movies.
You know what? I like movies like Dragged Across Concrete. That was good.
Never seen it.
That's by the guy. He's like an indie guy who's done a few movies, and we had him on our show maybe
a year and a half ago, give or take.
Yeah, a while ago. But that's a crime movie with Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson as these cops. And I don't remember the name of the third lead, but
it's been a while since I've seen it.
It's good. And then Hell or High Water, that one's really good about the brothers. Oh, yeah. And The Old Man and the Gun, which I think we're going to cover this year at some point, is another good one with Robert Redford. And that's another bank heist movie. But my all times is probably Dog Day Afternoon, which is kind of a sad story because that one's based on like a real thing that happened. That was like true crime bank heisting.
Like, I remember Sugar and Spice from my young
my gosh
years.
I forgot about that one. That one's entertaining.
Yeah, the cheerleaders and
that robbed the bank. Yeah.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, there's like the best one that I don't think anybody's mentioned yet, which is of course Heat. I mean, it's kind of like basic, but like that set the standard.
Yeah, Heat with Robert De Niro as the bank robber, and then who's the other guy?
Val Kilmer.
Hoo-ha! Hoo-ha!
Yeah, Al Pacino.
Al Pacino. Yeah, I saw him in an interview recently on YouTube, and he had some panel for Heat, like one of those anniversary panels, 30th or whatever. And he goes, I don't know if you recognize this, but in that movie, my character was deriving his motivation from all the cocaine. And he's like, so if I do anything out of character in that movie, hoo-ha! That doesn't seem right. Hoo-ha! He's like, just remember what I said, what the basis for my character was. And I thought, You yell in every movie, so we led to believe that every motivation for your character is that you're strung out in each movie that you're in. You know what I mean? Like, because you can count on him. Like his thing is, you can count on him to like in every movie he's gonna yell. Like he's gonna yell at someone. You know what's coming. You're like waiting to be scolded. Like where Pacino, in which scene are you gonna yell at us? like half hour in, hour and 45 in. In Heat, he yells at somebody as he's leaving a scene. Like clearly the camera is still rolling, but the scene is over, but he turns around and does his thing. I'm like, that was completely unmotivated yelling. like that's in Heat, David.
Yeah.
He's like interrogating like a snitch or something in the backyard, and the snitch is like trying to eat his breakfast burrito, and Al Pacino kind of ruins the breakfast burrito, and then intimidates him into giving up the information about like the bank robbing gang or whatever.
It's a bigger crime than the bank robbery, if you ask me. You don't ruin another man's breakfast burrito.
Yeah, you don't. Even though it's a snitch and snitches get stitches, you don't take a man's burrito. You just don't. That's like.
Yeah, but there's honor amongst thieves. Even I mean, come on, just like let the guy have his burrito first.
If you take away anything from tonight's episode, folks, just like leave the man's burrito alone.
Crack open a cold box of wine or pour something cold on ice because it's the Binge-Watchers podcast.
Home video headlines. Actually, sad news. Jeremy Renner got injured in a snowplow accident on like New Year's Day. So he was like using a snowcat, whatever that is, big machinery, I think, like to clear out his driveway in Nevada or whatever, or his property or something, a roadway or something, because they had a lot of snow. Yeah. And I don't know if it rolled over on him or he got stuck in it. I don't know what happened exactly because that part hasn't been revealed, but there's always like ongoing, like more details keep coming out. So it like hurt his leg badly enough that his neighbor had to apply like a tourniquet because his neighbor is like a doctor. But apparently it damaged his leg pretty bad and maybe parts of his body too. They haven't reported exactly like again, like this is like ongoing story, but Renner's a cool actor. So it would be sad for anybody. You don't have to be an actor, but just saying like, it's like, people are definitely pulling for him, whatever, winter stuff is dangerous. So like we were talking before the show, I was asking them like, you guys got snow? Like what's going on? And like, I don't know if I brought it up in the last episode, but my dad called me and jinxed me. He's like, you got that snow yet? I'm like, don't call me like worried about snow. I don't want to talk about it. Like superstitious. Like I watched baseball. So it's like, let me knock on everything made out of everything and make sure I'm wearing the same shoes and the same hat. Like we're not going to do this where we bring down bad weather on anybody,
Did it come or no?
No, we're still in nice little pocket of like, wind, rain, and like, maybe some coldness, but we don't need it. We don't. Boston doesn't need it this year. You guys can have it. Dave can have it. His little Kermit the Frog shirt. He can sit there in his Kermit the Frog pajamas and get all the snow. Dave, you can have all the snow this year, Dave. All of it.
Hey, I had my experience with snow last year and it took out our car.
Yeah, Dave, Karma kicked Dave's ass last year and took out his car. So maybe Dave doesn't need the snow either. Okay. Does it have to go to the three of us? Like, are we cursed on the show? Does it have to go
to
us?
I'll take it. Bring it to the Rockies. We'll make some good use of it.
Yeah, well, it can just hang out in the mountains. That's all. Just stay there. Tourists can go back to the ski lodge. Whatever. Anyway, it's a bummer for Renner. It's like really kind of crazy story. Like, dang, I don't know. He's really good in this movie called The Messenger, which is about like, he's a journalist. He exposes the on-run like Contra scandal or something from the 80s. So about the government drug programs or whatever.
Was that worth watching? That was one of those.
Oh yeah, because the government goes after him. They just kind of screw his life up. So it's a pretty good independent movie.
See, I always remember
you feel like that conspiracy government movie, you guys both like Blow with Johnny Depp. It's a kind of like that subgenre of movie, you know.
See, I always remember Renner from a movie, National Lampoon Senior Trip. That was like the first time you've seen that, right, John?
Yeah, that's his first lead role, which is completely different from any of his other movies. Like, period.
Like, he's like the Ferris Bueller of that movie. Like, he's like the cool guy.
Yeah. If you watched that movie, you thought he would have gone on to like Wayne's World type sequels or something, you know, like.
No, instead he became like a really intense, like dramatic actor.
Yeah, he knows where the bodies are buried. He's in like a lot of mafia TV, and he's in this thing called Mayor of Kingstown or something. He plays the ill-fated mayor in American Hustle. Who they try to con, like the con artists are trying to con him and give him like the what is it, seller scam from the what? It's a movie with
Christian Bale and Amy Adams, somebody else,
Jennifer Lawrence, who I'll mention in one of the headlines in a minute. But first, I want to talk about Strays. So there's a movie about a stray dog, and it's supposed to be like a live-action comedy, but the dog has a voice, and it's going to be voiced by Will Ferrell. But it's basically a stray wants to get even with the owner that dumped it. I'm like, where are they going to take this? Like, if it gets a little dark, it could be really funny, right? Like, if you're watching like Cujo, but you could hear the dog's inner thoughts or something like that, you know?
This sounds like something I would watch. I would like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's probably going to be like, in my imagination, it would be a really cool rated R movie. But I don't know if it's they mentioned the word revenge, which means it sounds like a grown-up story, right? Like a story for grown-ups, not a kid's movie.
Should be at least PG-13, at least.
Yeah, who knows? Like, we're still waiting for more details, but it's probably going to end up just being like a family-friendly.
Oh.
I hope not. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if it was like, now coming soon, Strays. You know what I mean? It was like, and like all these growls. You know,
well, there's already a horror movie from the '90s called Strays about like this country house that gets overtaken by stray cats. These evil stray cats.
Really?
Yeah, this is a movie that exists. I've seen it like multiple times.
I thought the only horror movie about cats was the one where the alien cat is in the side of the regular cat, and then it comes out and eats people and goes back inside the regular cat.
I don't think I've seen that one. I think I need to.
No, I don't want.
It's called like The Uninvited or whatever. Remember, I had like the picture of it.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. The Good Boys director. If you guys remember that comedy, The Good Boys.
Oh yeah.
Very inappropriate. Funny movie though. He's got a new film coming out called No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. Now, not a lot of details about the movie, but Good Boys is like hard R, but with like a good plot. It's really funny. And it's about like, would you call it a coming of age story, Dave?
Oh yeah, I mean it's it
has R-rated jokes. It's still about like kids going into their teenage years or whatever.
Well, a lot of good coming of age stories are rated R. Stand by Me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
Tonight's movie is Quick Change, with the aid of his girlfriend Phyllis, played by Gina Davis, and his best friend Loomis, played by Randy Quaid. Grim, who's played by Bill Murray. They go into a bank. He's dressed as a clown. They kind of get away during like a hostage situation setup. And then the robbery is almost flawless. And then they can't seem to get out of New York City. And that's what unfolds in the course of the movie is perfect robbery. You can't seem to handle your getaway. And that's Quick Change. Curious to see if Dave has dangerous details about tonight's movie. And as Jordan pointed out last week, they better be what?
They better be dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be mild. I don't know. We'll see. You be the judge. So this is actually the only movie that Bill Murray directed. Originally, this was supposed to be directed by Jonathan Demme, who would go on to do Silence of the Lambs. But he had to drop out, so Bill Murray and writer Howard Franklin took over. In fact, Bill Murray was later directed by Bill Franklin in a movie called Larger Than Life. If anybody remembers that, about him getting an elephant across country, if I remember right.
But Quick Change is their superior collaboration.
Yeah, it's definitely. Murray, so interestingly enough, Murray thought that New Yorkers would love this movie simply because it shows how awful the city really was. He just tended to believe that New York was one of the worst cities to live in, which is pretty well portrayed in the movie. So those are the facts.
That's all you're gonna bring?
Sadly, there was.
Look at the IMDb page, because so it's based on a novel by Jay Cronley, whose other works also got adapted into movies. Let It Ride got made into a movie. Funny Farm became a movie, and Quick Change is technically not just an adaptation of a novel. There was a bank robbery movie called Hold Up, made 5 years before, adapted from the same book. And it has the same clown. Chip the Clown robs the bank in that movie. It's just like a grittier crime version of the same story. This was all on the IMDb page, Dave. Where you? The details so far for the new year are not that dangerous.
Well, you can't. What do we? Didn't we say like there might be 1 or 2 bad shows a year, but everything else is golden?
Holy crap! No, every episode is great. I don't know what you're talking about. We'll be right back after these messages. I know. You're trying to find a cause for your symptoms. Like, why are those red spots dancing up my leg? Do I got cat scratch fever? What's going on? And then you stumble down that rabbit hole on TikTok, full of questionable advice from the so-called experts with usernames like SparkleBobby777. Well, ZocDoc helps you find expert doctors and medical professionals specialize in the care you need and deliver the type of experience that you actually want. Instead of chasing unicorns all over social media for the answers, unless, of course, your condition is called chasing unicorns, ZocDoc can probably help you. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, are available when you need them, and treat almost every condition under the sun. When you're not feeling your best and you're just trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all your energy. That's where ZocDoc comes in. Using their free app that millions of users rely on, you can find the right doctor that meets your needs and fits your schedule. Book an appointment with just a few taps of the app, and you can start feeling better faster with ZocDoc. Go to ZocDoc.com/spoiler and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within only 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com, ZocDoc.com/spoiler, ZocDoc.com/spoiler. Yeah, Johnny Spoiler's going to hook you up. Binge-Watchers Podcast, we're going to hook you up. Get ZocDoc today. Find out what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. Dave needs to watch more movies. He's not paying attention to the trivia. We're going to send him a bunch of DVDs. We're going to go to loveagainmedia.com/binge. We're going to get 15% off a movie box. We're going to send it to David so he can watch all these movies. I've actually ordered a few boxes from them. It's like a mom and pop video store. It's like Blockbuster on the internet. So if you're tired of streaming on Netflix and watching the little bubble, if your Wi-Fi doesn't load correctly and you're just watching this thing spin, you can go hard media. In fact, instead of calling it Dangerous Dave, we'll just call him like DVD Rogers. David the DVD Master. We'll come up with a new name, because unless he's going to get dangerous and take 15% off his own movie box with our code BINGE, then I don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to talk offline. I'm trying to break his heart. I don't know if it's going to happen.
You already have.
Oh, man. All right, now on to our favorite bits from Quick Change. Let's not even address his emotions. We're going to just move right on.
Bits. I would say my favorite bit is starting off with like the taxi scene when Loomis and Phyllis and Grim are trying to get to the airport, and they're trying to discuss the directions with the taxi driver, and he just doesn't understand English. And so Loomis just rolling right out of the car into a street sign. I think that's when it kind of started getting super exciting. I think just the taxi driver kind of cracks me up because he's just so distraught trying to like explain himself and describe these bank robbers, and then it just completely unravels from there. So yeah, that was a good bit. Dave?
Man, actually have quite a few.
Yeah, try to redeem yourself in Jordan's segment, David.
I mean, I could keep going, but it's like, I don't want to share all the good bits, steal all the good bits for you guys. So what's your bits, Dave?
Well, there's a small moment early in the movie when he's during the bank robbery where he's like talking down a dog. Like, I don't know, something about that killed me. I'm like, hey, shut up. The dog gets serious, like all of a sudden. But later on, when they're on the bus, just like the whole anytime that like Bill Murray and the bus driver have to have a confrontation or a talking to, just because I don't know that guy. I felt like he's played a bus driver in other movies, or maybe I'm just misremembering. But I don't know. I just feel like he feels like a real bus driver, just done with everybody's shit. Like, look, get behind the line. I'm not dealing with your nonsense today.
They've seen every kind of passenger like 10 times over, right?
Right.
They dealt with every scenario.
Well, and he's got his principles, right? You know, like he can't like mess with what he
counting down. Like, all right, 52 seconds. I don't think he's gonna make it. Which in that whole scene in the shopping in the little corner bodega or shop wherever he is, just to get some change to get on the bus was, I mean, if anybody who deals with anxieties or just like, come on, let's move it along, like that, there's something about that triggers that whole like, I get that. Like, come on, let's move it along. All right, get going. But what about you, John?
Well, I like the movie a lot. It has well-written dialogue. I wanted to write down a couple of lines. They're out of context, but if you see them in the movie, they make sense. In the beginning, Jason Robards, who plays the police chief, is like bantering back and forth with Bill Murray's, Chip the Clown character. And he goes, "I'm tired of your comedy, clown." But it's like that straight delivery, like you were talking about the bus driver being so specific. The way the cop drops it in this movie, I appreciate it. And then when Bill Murray's goofing around, trying to describe how bad the bank robbers are, while he hides out, spoiler alert, he hides out as one of the hostages. He's like, changed costume, whatever. He's like, he's deranged. He was saying things like, up your butt with a coconut, except I didn't see the coconut. Okay, it's kind of brilliant. It sounds like a stupid zany line, but then it moves on to this extra element. And with the extra element, it's really funny and appropriate for the context. Again, it's all out of context unless you watch the movie. And then I wrote down, oh yeah, look at the star power. Bill Murray, Randy Quaid, Gina Davis, James Robards. Stanley Tucci is one of the mobsters. That's the other thing too, is like a lot of the jokes have a lot of recall. Like they'll talk about characters that aren't there, and then the characters will show up in the story, and then it kind of builds. The story builds. Like at one point, they accidentally interrupt an exchange at like a mobster's get together, hangout, meeting, whatever's going on. They pretend to be bad people from the same mafia. They start name dropping. Once they hear the name, they include it in their repertoire to try to get out of there. And then those characters, like the other bagman Mario, does show up. And then the criminal leader, whatever, the mafia Don, played by Kurtwood Smith, Lambino, shows up on the plane when they're trying to escape, right? So it's like, and they said such and such made decisions. It affects this person, that person. And those people were included in how the plot was unfolding, It was like favorite bits. There you go. And now we can rate the movie. We have a system. We go binge now, binge later, binge never. You got to watch it right away, move it to the top of your list, get around to it eventually, or don't waste your life. You're going to want that time back. You can't get it back. So, Jordan, where are we at with this movie?
It was a binge now for me. I loved that it kept just like unraveling, and I did not see what was coming at the end of the movie. So I was totally surprised. I thought they were, I don't know if I should spoil it, so I'm just going to hold on.
Go ahead, drop it. Let them have it.
I thought that they were going to get caught. So I was just so excited that when like what's kind of unraveling on the airplane has nothing to do with them, but they're leading you up to the very moment of thinking that they're going to be the ones that are caught. And sure enough, it was.
Well, they do a good job of like what a thriller movie does, right? Like the red herrings and misdirections. Like you do feel the first time watching the movie, you do think they're absolutely going to get caught because it has like a darker underlying, like there's jokes, haha, but then there's like this little element, dark element, darkness that runs underneath like an undercurrent. And you're like, you kind of are worried when you watch it. You're like, yeah, they're going to get caught.
Yeah, I was totally caught by surprise when you realize that the detective or the police chief is like actually on the plane, to get the big mobster guy. So that had me.
Well, the setup is almost perfect when they try to say like, oh, was the big bank job done by the mafia boss that's back in town or whatever. You know what I mean? And like, isn't his lieutenants involved or whatever?
And they kind of like they make you think that like the mobster is like telling the police chief that the secret or like that that they're gonna get caught, and you find out that they're not there for them. So I was super excited that they got to fly off into happiness. So
I might still one of Dave's favorite bits, but we'll see. We'll see, Dave.
Well, already.
Oh, your rating. Sorry, I meant your rating.
Oh, Dave, what's your rating?
This is one of those I think got boosted by our conversation.
Wait a minute, you're like changing your mind?
No,
as we talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because there are some movies you watch on your own and you're like, oh, that's fine, but like this movie kind of got boosted.
Just when I took away his dangerous title, he's changing things as they happen. That's pretty risque, David.
Hey, I feel you. Sometimes that happens to me too, Dave. Where
we talk you into liking something or hating it, huh?
No. I already liked it. I was leaning a little on binge later, but like this conversation boosted it to a binge now. Because this movie stuck with me, and I'd seen it once, like maybe 15 years ago, give or take. And so I'd seen it, so I knew the plot, but it'd been so long since I've seen it, it was kind of new again. Like I forgot. I thought the bank robbery carried out much longer into the movie. Like that's only like maybe 20 minutes, a half hour, give or take. And then it becomes the real movie, which is them just trying to get out of New York and getting thwarted at every single turn. It's kind of like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in some weird way, in the sense that like everything they do to try to get to their destination is screwing them over. Mm-hmm. Binge now. It's this is a lot better than I remember. I don't think I can easily wager what John's going to say, but go on.
Well, I was about to say like the reason I was bringing up the favorite bits again was because like I thought you were going to love the side story of the Mario's bagman character like being in love with the mob boss's wife, and they have like an affair going on, and then he doesn't care about getting arrested, but he just wants to know what's going on with her on the plane. Like I don't know why they added it in. It was like this little soap opera thing right there at the end, but it punched up some of the jokes,
I like that too.
I guess it was just like more evidence to distract the police chief from the real criminals, right?
Right.
It's a binge now. It's like a masterclass in like bank robbery movies or comedy heist movies with a good cast. Obviously, like we watched Gina Davis in another episode in Earth Girls Are Easy, but if you're a Gina Davis fan, like eventually get to this one, and she kind of like plays her. She's really low key in this movie.
Yeah,
like everything she does is understated, which you don't see. Maybe it's a counterpoint to how like ridiculous
she's kind of a
straight
man in a sense.
Yeah.
Because Randy Quaid's, I mean, he's kind of the wink link in the movie, to be honest with you. Even though it's still a binge now, his character is almost insufferable.
But that might be the point too, because think about your friends. Some friends that you have to drag along or build up or whatever. Like, maybe you're maybe they're the chink in your armor or something. Like, you got a foolproof plan, but you're worried about your buddy.
I get all that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is like a compliment to the character because he did his job really well. I was really annoyed by him.
You got the mastermind, you got the one that's having to be dragged around through it, and then she's the level-headed one. So it's a good trio to have.
Spoiler alert again, I like the fact that Gina Davis and Bill Murray's characters stay together in the end.
Me too.
Like when she pops out and she's like, "Are we getting arrested?" Oh no, it's all right. Like, like cover story 700. Yeah. Like, hey, it all worked out.
One of those big like wink wink kind of moments.
But we had seen like she wasn't necessarily going to get on the plane. She wasn't going to go with them. Blah blah blah. It wasn't going to work out. A lot different from the end of Heat. A lot of loved ones go by the wayside in that movie. Not to spoil that entire bank robbery movie, because that's like the gold standard of bank robbery movies, probably.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, binge now. Did I say that already? I don't know. I guess I did. Okay. Staff picks. If we can recommend something to the audience that isn't the movie of the week that we like better or we happen to watch or that Dave knows about, maybe he's got some facts that are longer about some other movie he liked.
I didn't watch anything. Like, not anything to bring up on this episode. I've watched a lot of stuff, but nothing like super memorable. But yeah. I do recommend The Heist on Netflix, though. It's like a documentary series of real life heists.
Oh, yeah. It's like a true crime bank robbery type show.
The best one is the whiskey heist. So it's not even about
Oh.
stealing from a bank. So that's a good one.
Stealing whiskey, huh?
Yep.
During Prohibition or like?
No,
modern?
like modern day. Yeah.
You just like see a whiskey truck and go, hey guys, let's get it.
It was like this big underground, like barrel, like stealing barrels of like, you know, the best, most expensive type of whiskey. It's wild.
And then selling them again for a profit? Is that how it goes?
I think it was like used for bribery with like high profile people in the community. Yeah.
Like, David, we need to hook up on those Kermit pajamas, but there's a barrel of whiskey.
Yeah. There's like a heist within the heist in that one.
A heist within the heist within the heist on Netflix right now.
Yeah. So
Heist Inception.
Nice. Yep, exactly. Dave, did you watch anything good?
Yeah, probably the best thing I saw a week is I got into a movie theater and saw the return of Brendan Fraser to a starring role in The Whale, where, you know, he plays a really severely obese guy that's dying of congestive heart failure.
Every time I see the picture of him, I just go like, that's like me on a Thursday, like pre-coffee. That's what I think.
I've heard it's a really good movie.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's this is.
I'll do a side by side next week. I'll have like faces. You'll see.
Look, all I can tell you is you do not look like that. I mean, unless you're secretly hiding like 700 pounds, you're not going to look like this guy.
I'm not there yet. That's like sumo weight.
Yeah, he does not carry it well. I mean, it is a very sad movie. It's about a guy, like I said, he's
like dying from his obesity, right? He's like very sick.
Yeah, like he's got congestive heart failure. Spoiler alert, it starts with him opening with him working out something and almost having a heart attack because of it. I'll just say that much.
Oh, okay. Picking up what you're putting down. Yeah.
I mean, it is heartbreaking. It's a lot like The Wrestler. I mean, even into certain plot points of like him trying to reconnect with his daughter after being estranged. It is a sad movie. But it's weird to recommend a depressing movie that is so good. But
well, the filmmaker is one of my favorite filmmakers of like all time, Darren Aronofsky. Yeah.
He seems to have one of two modes, which is like crazy art house, trippy, kinetic energy, or The Wrestler,
or Bible magic. Have you seen Noah?
Yeah, Noah, well, I kind of throw that into the crazy experimental because I mean, even though it's about
like super artistic. Well, he did what's that movie he did where like the time traveling tree?
The Fountain.
Yeah, The Fountain.
Yeah, that's like a real philosophy movie. It's like I've seen it twice and I still don't know if I completely understand it, but I don't know if he did either. But anyways, The Whale is one of the better movies I've seen in a long, long time. And he's probably going to.
Have you seen any of these movies, Jordan? The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, or have you seen?
I've heard of that one a bunch.
What about Noah with Russell Crowe?
Mm-mm.
Oh man,
I'll have to put those two on. I've seen that one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like one of his first ones, right?
Yeah, this is the second movie. That's like the one that he's probably the most well known for.
That might be true.
Or Black Swan, maybe. I don't know.
I've seen Black Swan too.
Yeah, that's one of his trippy movies.
I forgot about that one. I gotta crack that one open again. I like that one.
It is a good one. But definitely paints a good picture on expectations when I go see it. So.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like, but now, kind of setting the trend with Aaron. Like, I expect a lot from this dude now. You know, I don't know what he expects of himself. Probably a lot. But now it's like the bar's really high for his movies for me, for his ingenuity and storytelling.
Well, he usually clears or sticks the landing. I mean, his last movie, Mother, was like probably the favorite movie I've seen that year that it came out.
Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem. Yeah. And then,
that movie is
anxiety. Like people take like a lynch mob shows up at their house. But they're just like residents of the town. It's a very weird movie.
That's a movie that would warrant a bigger discussion, but it's basically the Bible in one small space. There's a lot of Bible allegory in that movie.
I'll have to watch that one too.
His stuff is good, but he talks about everything. Universalism, everything. Anyway.
Well, what did you watch, John?
Oh, okay. I had intended only to watch First Blood, which is now called Rambo First Blood, but when it was released, it was just First Blood because it was supposed to be a standalone movie. In fact, there's an alternate ending where, spoiler alert, Rambo dies because it's a drama about a Vietnam vet that's treated poorly in a town, and he snaps and has like a private war with this, intense sheriff, played by another good actor, whose name is escaping me, but he's in Cocoon. Mr. Dennehy, yeah, Brian Dennehy plays the sheriff. And then he's like fighting the National Guard, and it's kind of crazy, but he makes good points. And it's kind of like both sides, like vets that went to Nam, came home, how they were treated, et cetera, et cetera. Also, the moral question, whether or not we should make killing machines out of people. You know what I mean? And like, they only can answer questions through the use of their tools. And then I found myself watching Rambo First Blood Part 2, which sounds like an oxymoron, or like the title. It doesn't make sense. How could it be the second part of the First Blood? Anyway, so Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then I watched Rambo First Blood Part 3. Then I watched 2010-11's Rambo. And then, of course, I rewatched Rambo Last Blood, which actually, I didn't watch the credits last time. And in the final Rambo, it replays an amazing montage of all the other Bloods. You know what I mean? And everything else Rambo has done, his greatest hits. Part 2 and 3 are very much like the same movie of each other.
See, I've only ever seen 1 and 3, and there's like a huge jump in, I won't say quality, but in the type of movie they are. Like the first one is like a genuine dramatic
drama,
movie.
And and Stallone does very well. But I think part 2 drops the ball during the Vietnam veteran speech. Like there's a speech and an emotional breakdown in the end of the first one that people remember, and it seems genuine. Like he might have something in common with vets, or at least understand them on a basic level. It kind of falls apart in part 2. He makes another shorter statement of that phrase, but this time you don't buy it. Like the way he delivers it, you think like you don't know anything about vets. Like that's how it comes across, like,
yeah.
And they're straight direct to video action movies. Like the sequels are like, let's wring this out. You know what I mean? That's why they changed the ending of the first one, because like, well, if we kill them, we can't make these action movies.
I mean, okay, hey, I do have a dangerous fact here, even though we're like number 3, I think for a while was like the biggest budget movie of all time for until whatever took it over. It was like something like 80 million in the 80s, which was like unheard of.
That would make sense because in the third one they go to the Middle East and it's the conflict of like the Afghans versus the Russians, and then Rambo's like in the middle of it, and I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of like scenery to chew on in those movies, but probably the 80s sequels are kind of a low point, and then like Rambo brings it up again, but then he makes these critical mistakes in Last Blood that you just think like if he had made certain decisions, it wouldn't have gone the way that movie went. But anyway, I can now tell you which are the best of the whole series. If anybody's curious, I can tell you which ones you should watch. Obviously part 1, and then Last Blood, and then the rest is like 2 and 3 are the same movie, but 3 is technically just a little bit better. And then the Rambo one from the mid 2000s is like very cartoony. Like the action is like very like not believable, like way, way, way over the top. You know what I mean? Like people just getting ripped apart left and right. And you go like, this defies the laws of physics, like a comic book movie. But again, because I watched them all in the span of like a 48-hour period. When you get to Last Blood, now I'm very judgmental. Like, where'd your special training go? How'd you get yourself so hurt and caught? Like, what happened, bro? Like, where did all your army training go? He's just like having like, he's digging holes in his farm, you know what I mean? And putting booby traps underground. And I'm like,
See, that could have been an opportunity to like bring it back to its drama roots. Like that could have been like he's having memory.
No, the last one's pretty dramatic.
Alzheimer's.
It's about like sex trafficking in Mexico. Like his adopted daughter gets kidnapped, and he goes looking for her. But then that's where I said he gets hurt. Like he's walking up this thing, and he knows they're like coming towards him. And I'm like, dude, your spider sense is telling you, your Rambo skills are telling you not to go here. And he goes there, and he gets demolished, annihilated, and then snaps into Rambo mode. And then it's pretty dark, David. The last one is kind of like those other movies with Josh Brolin and what's his name. Sicario. It's like dark drama, yeah.
I did watch something that was good. I forgot about. You just said dark drama. It was called The Devil is Everywhere something on Netflix. It's another Netflix original, but it has like Tom Holland. It has Robert Pattinson. It has freaking Sebastian Stan in it. It has.
But what is the plot of that movie? Because I had Dave try to explain to me in the past. What is that movie about? Because it has a dumb title. It does definitely have a dumb title.
It's not, from my memory, it's not very plot driven. It's more of a character study.
It's very character-y. You're right. Character study. I don't know. You guys are like the professionals in the film, but as a novice movie watcher, I would agree.
Because we have the same rank. You're in a year now. You got the same rank and title.
But you're like observing all of these different guys, these characters, and then the storyline just kind of comes together. So I would say it was worth a watch. It was very dark though.
Was it The Devil All the Time?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
What? Is it about a card game? Is it about crime? Like, what is the deal with this movie?
Crime, yes. Yeah, right. And hardships. And it's like about this kid who grows up with his family, like his dad was in, the war and comes back, and he comes back to religion, and he's losing his mom to cancer, and how they go about that.
You're making it sound better because now there's actual details.
Yeah.
Because I've avoided this movie thinking it's going to be trash.
It's kind of hard to explain because it's like you see it start with different characters that it kind of like introduces and ends with, but Tom Holland's the main dude, so. And it goes back and forth on timeline. It's like here and then here and then there and there.
So to make up for Jordan missing the Lady Terminator night where we watched this zany movie called Lady Terminator, we have a B horror movie from the 90s that I don't think Dave's seen. Maybe he's seen. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Jordan may not have heard of it. It's more likely that either of you have heard of the Julia Roberts movie with the same name. But anyway, we're going to watch a movie called Mirror Mirror, which came out in 1990. It's available on like Tubi, Plex, Vudu Free. It's like on all of them right now.
I've heard of it. I've not seen it.
It launches a straight-to-video series. It has at least 1 or 2 sequels. But yeah, it's a horror movie, and and it's not the one with Keith Sutherland with the bad mirror the security guard has to fight. That's just called Mirrors. But this is Mirror, 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 like Mirror on the wall. That kind of deal. But bad. Like evil. So evil mirror. The mirror's bad. I think if I think about the mythology of the Snow White mirror, I think the mirror was probably like a sociopath. He wants to play all the sides against each other, but he wasn't necessarily a bad dude. But in this movie we're going to watch, the mirror is evil.
I'm looking forward to this.
All right.
Nice. We'll see if it's on the level of like that vampire movie we watched, Pale Kiss, or Lady Terminator, or now Mirror Mirror. I don't know how I missed this one. Again, it's definitely something I should have seen. This is definitely in my ballpark, but I did not see it yet. So
I've heard of
we're going in blind on this one.
This is always my favorite. Have you seen it? You haven't seen it yet either, John? So that's my favorite. When we all three are walking in.
I don't know how I missed it, but I found it in this giant book that me and Dave have called The Video Dog or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. Like, we all going to come in just sullen next week. Like, all right, well, we watched the movie.
We watched the movie. Yeah, we talked about it for 45 minutes, and we sold you some things like a free doctor app and where you can get a box of movies if you're a casual movie fan. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Do we waste your time? Who knows? Sometimes you feel gratified, and other times it's just that. That's what Dave was saying. But I said they're all great.
They all great, all great.
Like I don't know. I was going to say breakfast cereal, but I don't think breakfast cereal is that popular anymore.
I've been eating Magic Spoon, which is a new thing in my life, but Check it out.
Now sponsored by Magic Spoon / They're aware of us. Come on, Magic Spoon. If Jordan's already eating you, sponsor the show. What flavor?
Is my favorite? Because I got the variety box, but fruity. Fruity's my favorite.
Now Dave wants the cereal.
Are these like low sugar or natural or what's?
It's like no sugar, gluten-free, protein. There's like 14 grams of protein. It's high protein. It's good. Low net carbs. Check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm eating cereal for the milk. Let's be real. I don't know about you guys. That's the best part.
My wife accuses me of drowning my cereal in milk. I'm like, no, I feel that's appropriate. You have to be able to drink some milk afterwards.
Yeah, wash it down. I'm here for the milk.
What kind of milk?
The cereal milk.
What animal?
I drink cow's milk.
Moo milk.
Yep.
Just regular.
Because it tastes way better. Yeah. Yee. Get it.
I was going to say something about breast milk, but I decided at the last second not to really talk about it. You sound like a crazy person who has a podcast. Like every podcaster is insane and they talk about, I don't know what. If a human's drinking milk, it should be human milk. Just let that hang in silence, awkward silence. Did I really just hear that? Oh, stop your laundry, play back the podcast, replay it, and then turn your radio thing louder if you're listening in the car. Make sure your children hear it.
Oh my God.
If you're in the office, play it out of the regular speakers, not your headphones.
Yeah, there you go.
The whole office. Humans need to be drinking human milk. Breast milk. How many times did I say that in a row? Or the beginning when we were like trashing every platform. Just as loud as possible. This wasn't really that offensive an episode.
No.
Although we started off, you started off by saying fuck a lot.
There was a lot of
Where's your proof, David?
Beginning of the episode.
All right,
like
then.
In this recorded episode. Yeah.
Oh, and I'll live it forever. So it was like, click the button. Oh, wow, okay. Well,
until John edits it out, and then I just sound like an asshole.
I'm running for public office and be like, did you hear that podcast? He wants to sell us human milk. I bet you I could still get elected, David.
I bet you could.
If I just get the base of the human milk drinkers.
There you go. John
Hopefully.
for mayor or something. I don't know.
Of Milktown. Milktown, USA.